up, wargamers? John back here again with another little weekly Gaslands build. This time what we got is, I'm thinking about we're going to do another team build. I think we've done one so far, and I believe that was the Devastator build. So this one I'm trying it out, trying to do a little something different. That one, a lot of building. I mean, when I was editing the Devastator episode alone with just Devastator was like 90 something files to edit together. So this one, and the idea I'm having is I have a bunch of cars. I think I have like 4 cars that are the same. So we're gonna do a little team build. A lot of it's paint, so I don't think it needs to be a multi-part. It still might run a bit long than my normal videos, but we'll try it out. We'll see how people like. You know, throw your little opinions in the comments if you will, please. But to start off, I think what we're gonna do too is we're gonna do a Beverly Devil on the Highway team, because it's kind of fitting the vibe. I've got this really old 32 coupe, like Ford coupe, that I don't know why, but these old cars kind of always scream Beverly vibes to me. So I was like, I think this will be, if you guys play, I'm thinking this will be our living car for Beverly Devil on the Highway. And then I've got 4 little ghost cars, like little buggies, where I've got not just one of these. I got these little mini bone shakers. What are they actually called? I'm sure they have a different name. Skull shakers. They're called skull shakers. But I've got 4 of these little tiny not 4, 1, 2, 3. I can't count. 3. I'm sorry. 3 of these tiny little shakers. This little bobblehead guy in the middle is pretty funny. I think we're gonna cut them out, and then as you can see, boop, boop, boop. Ba-ba. 3 little shakers. So I think these guys will be like our ghost cars for the team. Maybe some glowy effects. It's always nice on a ghost team. But yeah, so I think that's about it. So we're just gonna roll right into that build. Alright, wargamers. Back on this build table here with the Chaos team. Is what we decided we're gonna do. I've got 4 of these, this old school looking truck. And I was digging through my bits box, and I realized I have an extra greater demon head of each demon. So I think that's what we're gonna do. We'll do each ghost car like a theme for each chaos god, and then this one here, I think we'll do an undivided as like the living car. But I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with this yet. So we're gonna set her aside, and we're gonna start with these. These are pretty gonna be easy. Chop the head off. We're gonna cap the top here. And then just maybe a little smoke effect with cotton balls. So let's just get right into some dribbling, and we'll be right back. wargamers. So we got the little ghost cars finished. Pretty much. A lot of it will be paint. I'll probably use the insignias here on the side. Oh, I got cotton balls stuck all over me. I've been doing the old classic cotton ball with super glue trick to get smoke vapors. So I'm going to paint each one like a representation of each god coming out of the warp with these little skull shakers. We got corn here. The only one I didn't really have a good head for is I had bits and pieces. So I had the crown here from the Lord of Skulls kit. Just put a Night Titan head on it. But as you see, I think it works pretty good for corn. So we got the corn buggy, ghost buggy. We got this extra head from a friend's army I did, where he had a third-party Nurgle army. So this is from a third-party Great Unclean one here. I just used some Dryad arms because I was missing horns, but I think it works pretty well. So we got the Nurgle buggy, we got the Zinch buggy here. Just a few leftover heads I had from the Lord of Change kit. I think this is one of Cairo Fate Weaver's heads. Not sure, but it works out. And then we got the Slanesh buggy here with the Keeper of Secrets head. Just, you know, hanging out. When you're doing this super glue trick though, you gotta watch out, because I don't know what it is, but the heat of the super glue and the thin cotton fabrics, the chemical reaction, however it's happening there, puts out a whole lot of heat. And then since we already had it out, and I was waiting for the glue to dry, I figured I'd get into the real card, the living card for the team, our Chaos Undivided. I had 3D printed, I forgot I had 3D printed this lift rig here to try out for, you know, cars and stuff. So we got a nice little buggy here. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this. Let me get rid of the tab here so I can show you better. I got this shoulder pad or something from one of the Chaos Knight kits, I believe. And I was thinking about doing it as like a ram here in the front for the Undivided truck, but it covers up too much. I still want to use it, so I was thinking either something like this, which I feel like it's kind of silly, so I might just kind of put it on the back here like that. But I'm gonna play with that, so let's get back into the Undivided buggy then. All right, wargamers. I think we're done with the undivided truck. I believe I have a bunch of chaos decals. That's like rune script that I'm gonna put all up on here and kind of all over the hood and stuff. If I don't, I can just squiggle and make some up. But we got that big undivided shield in the back, some big hunkin' tires. I got these two braziers from the old 4th edition Cities of Death, just to kind of cover up that fat part. And then, you know, just some nice old-fashioned, just skulls lining everywhere. Head skull, bunch of skulls. I thought I had some more of those old Chaos spiked arches, but I guess I don't. So I guess it's just time to throw the whole team into some prime time. Alright, Wargamers, here with a full team build. First one, so I'm not quite sure how to do the layout here. So we'll get into a little bit about the team, and then I'll get down to each member of the team. As far as the team name themselves, we're going to go with the 8-folded path. It's a chaos theme build, which I feel like fits Beverly very well. Basically, you just got a big car with a lot of stuff since of the Soul Anchor rule. And then a bunch of little spookies that run around. So we just kind of made the main car an undivided car, and then based the four cars on each of the main chaos gods. So let's just get into some stats. Alright, Wargamers, we got the first car here on the table. The living car, if you will. As you know, for those who play Beverly, the whole team's Beverly sponsored. Your one living car is usually loaded with tons of stuff, and everybody else is little spooky ghost cars. So let's get into the stats here. For the name, we're going with the Bearer of the Word. The chassis type is a performance car. As far as weapons and equipment go, we have armor plating, a explosive ram, roll cage, a set of RC car bombs, a set of sentry guns, and a SMG. And as far as perks, we have Splashback and Sympathy for the Devil. And she's coming in at 43 cans. Alright, Wargamers, for this one, the name we have is Plague Father. The chassis type is a buggy, and the only perk it has is Violent Manifestations. Now, for this one, is we were using I think it was a creature caster head. It's if some company, third party's equivalent to a Great Unclean one. I think the head works great. I lost the antlers a while ago, so I just kind of used some extra druid arms from Wood Elves. And for the warp vapor, we have like this kind of going for like this kind of sick miasma, toxic fog vibe coming off. Alright, Wargamers, for this one we have, as for the name, we're going with the Prince of Pleasures. The chassis type is a buggy, and the only perk it has is Violent Manifestation. Now, we did here is I used one of the extra Keeper of Secrets that I had, and just kind of went with a sulfuric, like kind of perfume vapor for the warp vapor coming out. Just wild color hair. Went with a more muted, kind of placid purple for the skin tone, and of course your little gold charms here and there. But I think it works out very well for a Slanesh car. Alright, Wargamers, for the next car, this name we're going with is the Lord of Rage. The chassis type is a buggy, and the only perk it has is Violent Manifestation. Now, as far as this car goes, is I had surprisingly, I have an extra head to the Lord of Skulls? I don't remember what it's called. It's the big corn tank, super heavy thing. So put it on and kind of went with like an ash smoke style for the warp vapors coming out. And I tried to make it look almost wet, like almost bloody as well, but I'm not sure if that came across like a sticky wet smoke. But here you go. Alright, Wargamers, on this one, for the first ghost car, is for the name wise, we're going with the Architect of Fate. The chassis type is a buggy, and the only perk it has is Violent Manifestation, coming in at a light 9 cans. Now for this one, for the style, we went with a spare Lord of Change head I had laying around from just forever ago. So we kind of going with, as you'll see with all three ghost cars, we're going with like a representation of that god manifesting out of like warp smoke from the top of the cars. So this one, we've got some magical blue here that fits Zeech very well. Oh, I don't know what you guys are doing in my stack fridge out here in the backyard, but since you're out here, let me straighten you up a little bit. Since you're out here, let me ask you a couple questions. You like buying custom cars and whatnot? Do you like promoting small YouTube channels as myself? I don't know, maybe you just like buying some cool merch? Or perhaps even, do you enjoy some smooth jazz? Either way, open up an Etsy shop, just selling off all the builds to help promote the channel, because I'm never going to use them in the games anyway. So I'm going to throw the link down in the description of the videos now. I got cool cars. Anything you see on the channel, buy it if you want. I'm thinking about adding some stickers and custom dice maybe later on. I got a message system set up, so if you want some commissions, like commission terrain or other, you can hit me up there too. So I think that's it for my short little ad shelling out my thing. So I'm going to grab my cheesy sticks and this Bex, and I'm out of here. See you later.